Welcome to our houses, our individual houses. And welcome to another episode of the Back Catalogue podcast. This is the podcast where we are back in your city. And by we, I mean me, Appa, and my co-host / co-founder, Vincent. We dive into the streaming services. We tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth it and what is not. Now, once again, apologies just straight off the bat. You know, the lighting in here is terrible. We are at our individual houses. This is not where we want to be, Vincent, but we're here.
This is absolutely not where we want to be. And after last week, actually, it's going to be like a week and a half ago now. But after that time, you know, we said we wouldn't be doing any remote stuff. But like subsequently, I got the COVID. So, you know.
I mean, Vincent said he's sick and tired of always being so sick and tired.
And then I got sick, and then I got tired.
Exactly.
We're here. We also can't see each other. I can't see my co-host / co-founder, so he can't welcome me to his house because I can't see it because we've had too many issues with visual mediums. So if this is better, if this is worse, I mean, who the hell knows?
Here's the thing that I know, Vincent, is that we can't see each other, but like the spirit still flows within us. And the spirit is that Ozploitation spirit, because today we are still in the Ozploitation era and we are doing 1985's very own Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah. And also, like just before, I was also, you know, normally we do every Wednesday. You know, every Wednesday the podcast comes out. Obviously, I had to cover it. So it's going to come out like I don't know, depends. If I get this out, it might be a Friday night. And that might be the main event for the weekend. Did you get like heads asking, you know, where's the podcast?
Oh, bro, all the heads asked. And I just had to let them know, like, it's on shaky ground, me and Vincent. You know, we had a misunderstanding as to which Mad Max we were going to watch, and then like we were at each other's throats for a couple of days. But we're back.
But we're back, and like they didn't want us to be back because I didn't get any messages. So like evidently no one wanted us to be back from my end. And I'm glad that people thought that, you know, you being, or people said to you that they wanted us. Bro, my brain's not working.
Listen, Vincent. Look, it's 2023 and you got the 19, okay? Like, you're back in time. You are back as far as we can be right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to take it slow. We're going to drink some water and we're going to get back into some Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, because I have some facts for you and for the listeners and the viewers.
Some Mad Max facts.
Now, this Mad Max facts, this has got a 6.2 out of 10 on the IMDb. It's got the 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, this had a budget. I've got to find this budget because it's different in different places. But it had a budget of $10 million. This was the biggest budget that any of the Mad Max films has had, which makes sense, right? It's the third one. You've had some success. Let's do some more. It grossed $4 million, just over $4 million at the Australian box office. And the film grossed, yes, at the Australian box office. And then it grossed $36 million in the United States and Canada.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so it's doing okay.
Yeah, that's
you
a pretty.
There? Did you just leave me?
Sorry, no, I'm here. What was the budget? 10 million.
10 million. It says 10 to 12 million, but I'm going with 10 because like I'm here for the people.
Because I'm looking up inflation calculator. That's about 28 million in today's dollars. And because like I'm in 2019, I'll look that up as well. Because I got the 2019. Make sure you put in numbers. Yeah, all right.
Dude, I can't believe you got the 2019. We're sitting here.
And it's 23 million in 2019.
Wow. And that'll happen less with inflation. That'll happen.
I mean, inflation, you know, it don't deflate.
Now, here's the thing that I want to tell you, Vincent, right now, and this is for you and the listeners and the viewers. Much like what the listeners are probably thinking about our overall podcast, when I started watching Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, I was hoping it would end very soon. And we're going to get we're going to get right into this review. Now, I hate this lighting, man. I hate this lighting.
That's okay. I can fix that.
You can make me
I
look
can
better.
fix that. Yeah. I'll just have it as like technical difficulties, and I'll just turn your whole video off.
I mean, look,
That's
sometimes
what
you
I'll
just
do.
got to turn the whole video off and just turn the corner in life
Sometimes it's
and
not
be better.
salvageable.
Now, I'm going to give you the
Uh,
synopsis. Then we're going to jump into this, Vincent. We're just going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. Because let me tell you, there's a lot that I didn't like, and we'll get into this. Barter Town, and I'm talking about Barter Town, a desert city with almost zero civilization, is where Max seeks shelter in a post-apocalyptic world. He must survive the desert, the barbarians, and this ghost town, and also rescue others. So, like, not only is this movie bad, but the synopsis is just making me feel even more frustrated about the movie.
yeah, but George didn't have nothing to do with the synopsis, you know?
I mean, I can't say anything bad about George because like George has done good things.
George has done, well, I mean, he's done some good things. I don't
He's
know
done
about,
some good things.
I haven't read his memoir, so I don't know about all the things.
Like he could have been behind 19. Like, I mean, we're not saying that live on air, but like we haven't read the memoir, so we're not 100% sure what happened with George.
I mean, allegedly.
It's all alleged on this podcast, and we'll just make
It's
that
all
clear from
alleged.
the start. Now, I want to hear from you, Vincent. Let's just get into give the synopsis. I don't think really gave the best understanding of it. So I want you to just tell the people what this movie was about and where we started in this movie.
All right, so I'll set the scene of, you know, where I started this movie. So this was like day 3. I'm talking.
damn.
I got high fever. I'm sweating and I got chills.
Oh,
And you tell me how to add those two together, because that doesn't add up to me. And I'm watching Mad Max Fury Dome or Thunderdome
beyond
or
something.
whatever. Like whoever's dome came up with this has got to be like taken around the back of the barn. But
I mean, it's beyond me.
It's like beyond. It's like it could be like your video quality. It could be beyond salvageable. Anyway, so I'm watching this in the thick of symptoms right now. So I don't know if what I was watching was a fever dream or if it was straight from George Miller's Dome. But this movie, sorry, what were you gonna say? This movie, I imagine it being like half. Hey, we're still doing Mad Max. Like, hey, Mad Max is still here. It's still, the Australian outback, but it's not actually the Australian outback anymore. We're kind of just in this. We almost like Gladiator. And then there's a whole situation where, I mean, I haven't seen the Goonies, but I imagine this being what the Goonies is like, because it's just half the movie is Max with these kids that have the most absolutely infuriating way of talking for about, I don't know, that's got to be at least half of the movie. And he's like got this ragtag bunch of kids and they're doing dumb things and he's doing dumb things.
I mean, that's the movie.
And like Tina Turner's there.
I think I'm going to get into.
And that's the movie.
You're talking about the Goonies. I actually compared this to another movie when I was watching it, but I consider this to be the bogan and let's just say undercooked version of this movie that I'll describe a bit later. But one of the things that I think this movie is called Beyond Thunderdome, and Max finds his way into a town in which he's the main reason that he goes into that town is because he's trying to get his car back. And a way for him to get his car back is to essentially jump into this thing called Thunderdome, which is like a gladiator scenario where he has to verse another man to the death. When I saw this part of the movie, when they walked into Bartertown, I'm thinking, if we spend the entire time in this Bartertown, meeting all the crazy people that are here, doing Thunderdome things, people flying around on, strapped to bloody bungee cords and just flying around a dome.
That was the best part. That was the best part about a Thunderdome. They don't just put you in there with, your bare mittens. They put you in there. They strap you to a bungee string. They wind you up, and then you're at the whims.
I mean, you're just flying.
You're at the whims of the rubber.
And if they left me in there for 90 minutes, right? But maybe there's a couple Thunderdome fights. You don't need more than 2. You do 2 Thunderdome fights with Max. Then maybe something happens. These people are trying to break into the place and steal Bartertown, take over Bartertown, or Max is having to escape for some reason. I think that is a far better movie than what we got here. Because what we got here, Vincent, I'm going to tell you this straight up to your face right now. I think this was like, what if Bogans made Star Wars?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. This was a pretty bad movie. This was a pretty bad movie. And it wasn't even, the last 2 movies, you look at all the other characters and you're interested. This movie, I felt like all the other characters were just as boring as Max.
And I think one of the reasons, now I'm slouching in this chair, and that's just, sometimes you'll work from home and you'll forget about your posture because there's no one here to see you. But really, all of YouTube is seeing me. And because we went viral recently, like all of YouTube is seeing me. So I apologize for that in advance for my slouch posture. But one of the things that I think you're correct in is that the reason why everyone is so boring is because you go into this really rich, and by rich I mean like there's lots of people in this town, which we haven't really seen lots of people in one space in Mad Max. It's always sort of been dispersed. Even in the last movie where there was a few more people in that one space, there hasn't really been as many as what there was in Bartertown. But the issue with Bartertown is everyone looks exactly the same. They're all just wearing black. And then Tina Turner comes out looking like Tina Turner, and you're like, why isn't everyone looking like, why isn't some person looking like Tina Turner's, cousin, Christina Turner? Like, why isn't someone doing that?
I mean, Christina Turner, if that's really her cousin's name, like that's 2 Tina Turners.
I mean, but if your cousin's you got the same grandmother, grandfather, like you might be named the same thing. And that's just ethnic things for me and you to talk about.
Yeah.
Because how many Vinnies are there? And how many co-hosts / co-founders are there in your family? I mean, there's a lot. One of the things, so I think it's very boring because everyone just looks the same.
Mm.
And that's
I think they almost went too much in this one.
Well, you have to, and this is the thing. There gets to a point where you have to go bigger and better, but sometimes it doesn't always work out.
I don't think they went bigger and better. I think they just said, hey, those other 2 movies, let's just forget about what we did there. Because this movie did not feel anything like the previous ones. The car chase scene in this one was garbage.
Yeah.
Number one, because they were on rails for one of them.
That's exactly right. Mm.
But you barely even saw any of the car chase parts that are actually enjoyable. There was a few, there was that dude with the hair, with the big ponytail, and he kept getting run over, and he kept just appearing from different body panels. He's like, hey bro, you got a rust spot here. Like, this is not going to get through. This is not going to get through Regency Park compliance. And he just kept appearing. But other than that, the car chase scene was terrible.
Yeah.
I really don't understand what the whole thing was with, Captain Phillips or Captain Edwards or like whatever the man's name is. Could have been Captain Jack Sparrow for all I care.
So there's this subplot that's going on. So once Max, he gets involved in Thunderdome and then ends up not killing the man and gets exiled from Bartertown. Now on his way out, he stumbles upon this group of kids that Vincent was talking about earlier. And if these people aren't the B-grade Ewoks from Star Wars,
you're 100% correct.
This is what I'm saying here, right? These kids that are in this movie, they worship things that have happened in the past and these stories. And one of the things that they worship is this plane. There's this plane that's crashed near where they live, and they're going to use it to get to safety. That's essentially what this whole plot is.
They've got those like hollow cards you put in the glasses, and there's a pilot, there's a plane, there's a city. And they've made up their own stories. Yeah, and that's cool. And that could have been a cool plot, but it literally just turned into, hey, how about what if we make Max a bit more accessible, and then we can do like spin-offs for kids.
Yeah.
You know, we can do
Like,
little Einsteins. We can do like little budget Ewoks.
I could see them making a TV series out of just these Ewoks, and it being like, 10-minute episodes of like the Ewoks, these kids are called, just like walking up to planes and being like oogity boogity, like, let's get out of here. And
honestly,
that man's coughing out the 19 right now.
The way they spoke was it was just infuriating. I couldn't stand it because it wasn't as if, hey, they don't know how to speak because they've never been taught. They just randomly spoke in weird sentences.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Like, instead of saying foot, they're the sort of people that will say feet.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, put that feet in my mouth. Like, they'll say that. And then, like, we will have to just check them on that. But one of the things that I want to talk about as being a major issue is that beyond Thunderdome, and I simply mean beyond Thunderdome, like when we leave that space, this movie tries to expand into something bigger and then loses itself completely. Yeah. And for those out there who have really seen the rise, the fall, and the rise again of the back catalogue, we are doing that exact same thing, Vincent. We paid all that money for the big stew. We're not even using it now because, like, you're back in 2019. I'm here in 2023.
Yeah.
And we went big, and unfortunately, we got to go home. We just got to go home.
Yeah.
When Max helped these people escape, and he's stuck being the wanderer, whatever happens to him. Were you expecting him to rock up in Shitney at the end?
In where?
They go to Sydney in the end of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Were you expecting him to just like rock up and be like, hey, I'm Max, I'm in Sydney now?
No, but also they flew there on that plane from the guy from the second movie, which Max didn't recognize him and he didn't recognize Max, which I thought that was interesting.
I think this builds into your theory from the last one that they're just separate entities. And maybe Max is an idea rather than a character.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he's just mad.
Like he just forgets.
But yeah, they all fly to Sydney.
Yeah.
Which there's no way they're getting there in that thing. With them all, that's hiding under the wings.
Yeah. We're talking about Boeings here. We're not talking about like prop planes or little like, whatever that man was, gyrocopters that he was doing in the second movie. Like, this is a Boeing 787 or 747 or, I'll say any number and I wish it's that. But it's one of those. These guys aren't flying that anywhere.
I think they were using that other plane that the dude had. But I also don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares about that? Realistically, who cares? They could end up in...
This is what I'm saying.
They could end up in Adelaide. But yeah.
Who cares about this movie, man? I was really upset by this because I see Tina Turner. I see Thunderdome. I see Angry Anderson. You know Angry Anderson?
I don't know who that is.
He's that dude with the bold dude that's got the head on top of his head. He's one of Tina Turner's sort of bodyguards.
No, I can't remember.
He's got like the white head. He's got like a stick that's going up from his back, and it's got a head on top of it with like the mohawk on it.
Wasn't that the guy I was talking about?
I think that's the guy you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Bold dude. Bold man? Where you at? Have I lost you here?
No, I can hear you. You just dropped out for a second.
Okay. I think that, you've got these people and you just fumbled the bag.
I didn't even think they were particularly interesting. I really don't think they were particularly interesting. I think this movie had none of the atmosphere that the previous two had. The last two, at least...
What do you think it missed in regards to the atmosphere of an Ozploitation film? This is what I want to hear from you, Vincent.
I think Bartertown felt like you said, it was full, but it was empty.
And that's themes.
There were too many people.
We'll bring out themes here.
We'll bring out themes. But there were too many people, and you didn't really... I think the last ones, they did really good in giving just random characters that were only on screen for like 30 seconds, not even, a part that made you go, oh, that's a different person to the other 50 that I've seen.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
like when we had the scene in the second movie where they're trying to fix the truck, and the mechanic is talking to like a dude who's then talking to another dude who's talking to the head guy that's given orders. Now, the two dudes that are talking to each other, you do not see them at any point in the movie other than that.
Yeah.
But in that moment, they are distinct. It's a hilarious scene,
It is funny.
but they're distinct, and you go, okay, there are real people in here. There are real people in this space. And that was the same with so many other. You just have them for a second. Like even when some dude would just like die, and he'd die with character. You know, heads here wouldn't even die with character.
Yeah.
They just like collapse.
Now, I think as well, like adding to that, you're not in anywhere that's really that exciting, which then sort of brings the characters down even further. You know, when we go into that pig pen thing that is run by Master, whoever that guy's name is.
Yeah,
that
that character, Master and Basher.
Yeah,
It might have been like Prancer, Dancer, and like Rudolph, but I can't remember now. They were cool characters. I like them too.
Yeah, they were very cool characters. Blaster, that's right. You're right. Blaster. They were cool characters, but within that space, like, who are you going to care about? You're going to care about Robert Grubb as Pig Killer?
I don't even know who Robert Grubber is.
He's Pig Killer. You know, I know that they're trying to create this down, dirty environment, but I don't really need to see like 15 minutes of Max being in a space where people are shoveling pig feces. Didn't do anything for me. I do agree with you that Master is the one character who is so quirky that he almost steals the show from the start. And by quirky, I mean like the way that he presents himself, the way that he not only does he present himself physically because he's standing on top of another man, but also he presents himself in a way that he's like, I know I'm at the bottom of all of this. I make the wheels work because he's got the energy. That's right, and he lets Tina Turner's character know who is the boss of Bartertown, who is the queen of Bartertown. He lets Tina Turner know, like, brother, this is me. This is me. I will say I did like Tina Turner as well, and I like Tina Turner because I'll tell you why I like Tina Turner, because I see someone floating down towards Thunderdome from like a high up space, and they got just this glamorous hair, and it's Tina Turner. You know, she's got pipes, and she'll do the soundtrack as well. I respect that, and you know, R.I.P. to Tina Turner, who only recently passed away, because she had some hits out there.
I mean, she had some hits, but this movie wasn't one of them. I didn't like her in this movie.
This movie was not one of them, but I did enjoy Tina Turner. Now, before we get into our ratings, Vincent, is there anything, because, you know, there's a segment on this show in which you sort of just rattle off things that come to your mind, and this is that segment. Is there anything that you can think of that you want to talk about before we just get into the back end of this?
I didn't make any like notes or anything, because like I said, I was neck deep in like chills and fevers.
Yeah. And like, you're either neck deep in pig feces or you're neck deep in the 19, and you don't want to be neck deep in either.
No, that's right. Overall, this movie sucked. It was like a 2 or a 3. I think, honestly, it didn't have many redeeming qualities for me.
Yeah.
It really just was poor. And I look back on the first two, and even though I didn't initially like the first one that much, I was thinking more about what you said last week or the week before, or like in 2018, whenever it was, that the first part of the first movie and the second half of the second movie, put those two together, that's a movie.
That's a movie. That is a movie.
And, you know, I think you are 100% correct, because the car chase in the second movie was unbelievable. And I really did enjoy the environment in the first movie, the characters, the wildness of it. I think they had a lot of good bits here. But this movie did not have any good bits. This movie was just bad.
Yeah. I feel that this falls into the Patrick versions of these Ozploitation movies that we've watched, where it doesn't really give you much Oz and doesn't give you much exploitation. It really misses on some of the key factors that we have grown to love from an Ozploitation film. And one of those factors that it really misses, and I'm going to hit you with this, and you're going to really believe this, Vincent, because I'm going to say it from my heart,
Yeah.
is that this movie doesn't feel like it has one. That was Mad Max 3, and this being the back catalogue.
Talk soon.
Yes! Yes! That one's going to go viral.